everybody. This is Dave Stevens coming to you from the Ability Media Studios for the Disability Channel Press Box. I am so excited to be here for today. We have a great show coming up, some amazing guests. Yeah, we have Jeremy Roenick. He's going to join us here in a couple minutes. Former Major League pitcher Dennis Rasmussen is also going to be a part of it. And, of course, my co-host joins me, Josh Rimmer, who's going to talk to Jeremy in just a couple of minutes. We got an action-packed show, and we're going to bring in Jay Stoyan, who's going to talk a little about everything hockey-related, playoff hockey, and what we can look forward to in the postseason. But we're going to cut to all of that right after this.
Would you like to donate to our employment programs? Please follow the link below to donate through PayPal. All proceeds go to our programs.
All right, up north, my buddy Josh Rimmer is here, and Josh, man, we got to get to this guest because Disability Channel really lucked out thanks to you. And, we're going to talk some hockey today. So if you'd like to introduce our guest, take it over, my friend.
Absolutely, Dave. Thanks for having me on the show. And, yeah, I'm excited to have one of my good buddies, one of the best U.S. scorers ever to play the game, and an overall amazing guy. Jeremy Roenick joining us on the show today. Jeremy, thanks so much for joining us.
I appreciate it, Josh. It's great to talk hockey, and it's great to talk, the disabilities and what you guys are doing, bringing awareness to a lot of people and how we can help. I'm a huge advocate of helping and giving people better lives, and it's really, really great to be here with you guys.
Jeremy, let's first, before we get into the hockey talk, let's discuss what you're up to these days. I know you've been busy with your show. Let's talk about that. Let's give some promotions to that a bit.
So I'm doing a lot of things, and one thing that I've been taught is get involved with as many things as you possibly can to keep yourself busy and keep yourself occupied. So you can see my shirt. I have my No Filter shirt, which is a new streaming platform that I've started with a couple friends of mine. So it's original content, and I have a show called Hits Hard, which is a hockey show on Mondays and Thursdays at 5:30 Pacific time. And then I have kind of a lifestyle, political type, hot topics, controversial topic show with my partner Dave Briggs at Tuesdays at 8:30 Eastern time. That's where it gets really crazy, right? We talk about politics, we talk about the things that are happening in our world today, and funny things, controversial things, and having a conversation, which is always important. And we seem to have lost that ability to have conversations and debates and where we can teach each other, I think, our own perspectives, which is important. So I have that. I'm working on a whiskey company. I'm putting together a brand of whiskey that will be coming out, a blend. It's chocolate whiskey called Wilderness Whiskey. Will be out this summer. Very excited about that. And recently I just joined a new platform. It's a recruiting platform. It's going to allow kids to open up profiles to pretty much put themselves out there to colleges, pro scouts, college coaches, and kind of be their own recruiter. So I want these opportunities with these days of less travel, kids getting bypassed due to less travel, due to their proximity of where they live, not getting the chance to be seen by college scouts, college coaches, pro scouts. This app called Signing Day Sports will allow every kid that wants to have an opportunity to be seen, to go to school, be seen. And it's going to really change the way schools and coaches draft and scout their new prospective athletes. So I've got a lot of things going on. I'm real happy and busy.
Wow, you are busy, JR. That's a lot of stuff going on. Well, that's awesome, man. I have listened to a couple of the Unfiltered podcasts, and I love listening to it. So everyone should do the same. I guarantee you'll enjoy it. JR is always a great listen. JR, let's talk some hockey.
Yep.
I want to begin with your old stomping grounds in Massachusetts, and I want to talk about Taylor Hall. This is I guess you can't call him a kid anymore, but this is a guy that used to be a huge point getter playing for the Edmonton Oilers. He got traded to Jersey, then to Phoenix, then to Buffalo, kind of dropped off the map a bit, but he's looking like the Taylor Hall of old in Boston, JR.
Yeah, you kind of wonder what goes on in players' minds when they move from city to city, what goes through their minds with the different people they're playing with. He goes to New Jersey and has a dynamite season, wins the Hart Trophy, gets his team into the playoffs. There's no problem with who he was playing with in New Jersey, and he lit the league up. Taylor Hall is a tremendously talented player with tremendous speed, great goal scoring ability. He's big, strong, fast. This guy should be able to play with anyone. And playing in Jersey, he proved that. He proved that he could put big points on the board and really not have many guys to play with or many supporting role players that helped him. He goes to Arizona and kind of falls off the map a little bit in production. Whether he was the right fit in Arizona, whether he didn't like the way he was played in Arizona, ended up leaving, going to Buffalo now. And for him to have 2 goals in 36 games with Buffalo is very eye-opening for me and alarming. He goes to Boston. He has 4 goals in his first 7 games. How does that happen? You don't just become a goal scorer or just not become a goal scorer because of your talent at that age. It's a mentality. It's an attitude. And I think Taylor Hall in Buffalo had a bad attitude. And I think there's a lot of things in Buffalo that are giving a lot of people bad attitude. Jack Eichel is falling into that same realm this year. So Taylor Hall is I love that he's playing well with Boston, but is it just because he's happy now? And okay, I'm happy now. I'm playing with an original 6 team, a team that's going to make the playoffs, a team that could win the Stanley Cup. So I'm happy now. So I'm going to play harder. Because you can't tell me that Krejci and Craig Smith are better players than, say, Jack Eichel and a Reinhart or an Olofsson. He had some quality players to play with in Buffalo and didn't produce, but now he is in Boston. So not taking anything away from Taylor Hall because he's a great player, but those little things tell me that there's something in the attitude, in the body, in terms of how he approaches a game, that would concern me. But he's awesome. I'm happy for the Bruins, and I'm happy for Taylor Hall.
Jeremy, wanted to just ask you, unlike last year where we were so COVID sensitive and it was a much different type of season, do you think we're back to the quality of the NHL play with getting the fans in the stands and getting that kind of atmosphere where we're back to where we should have been and where we were 2 years ago?
I think we're getting there, and I think I think with everything that's happening right now with all the mask conversations, with what Joe Biden came out with yesterday, with the vaccine being given to a lot of people, even the players in the National Hockey League. Hopefully the league can loosen up their protocol come playoff time and let these guys enjoy a little bit more of their life, because once you go into playoffs, it pretty much gets, it gets really, really gnarly as the postseason goes. And I know these players are sick and tired of wearing masks inside and wearing masks around the locker rooms with guys that they're with all the time. If these restrictions are being lifted across the country, I am of the belief and hope that the National Hockey League does that too, because you're going to see an amazing level of hockey in the playoffs this year, and more fans that will be going into the stands. I would hope that every team in the National Hockey League lets fans into the buildings come playoff time, because these guys are jonesing for a great playoff season.
JR, speaking of the playoffs, who do you think is going to be the team to beat going into the playoffs this year? I mean, can Tampa Bay maybe repeat? Can they be the first repeat in a few years now?
Yeah, well, you see that whole division, that Discovery division, has been so difficult. I mean, if you would have told me that Carolina would probably win that division at the beginning of the year, I would have told you you're crazy. But they are proving that they are one of the beasts of the National Hockey League in the way that they play. They can beat anybody at any given time. Florida is beefed up at the trade deadline. Getting Montour and getting Sam Bennett. So I think they could be a danger. I don't think Tampa is going to be able to do two in a row. That's so hard to do, especially in such a shortened season. You never know, though. Tampa is so solid and so strong. I still think it's going to be Colorado. I think they'll find their edge. I think they'll find they'll get into a groove, and as barring injuries, I think they're the type of team that can play any type of game, any style, no matter if it's physical, fast, defensively, good goaltending. They have it all. But is it just me, or are the Vegas Golden Knights just such a mystery to me? They nothing pops out at the screen at you on paper. But man, oh man, can they score goals and can they play at a high pace? And for them being at the top of the league right now, I've always been like, wow. I mean, it's such an interesting, awesome story for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Jeremy, it's such an honor to have you here. Why you're in the Hall of Fame, we should really be pushing because of your legendary career, your goal scorer, everything you did, and just we really appreciate you being a part of this on our broadcast. But I'm going to put you on the spot. If you and I were having a beer, we were sitting around with Madonna or Hull or somebody like that, and we said, Jeremy, what's your greatest memory on the ice? Is it a goal? Is it an Olympic moment? What is your personal greatest memory of your professional hockey career?
Standing for the national anthem in the 2002 Olympic gold medal game, looking across the ice and seeing the Canadians on the other bench, and being American, to be able to go up against the arch rival, the team that we hated the most and the team that we tried to emulate the most in Canada. Hockey is Canada's sport. And they've always been a world power, but we as Americans weren't a world power and considered a world power until '96, and then again in 2002. And it was my generation with myself, Mike McDonough, Chris Chelios, Brian Leach, Keith Kachuk, Bill Guerin, Doug Waite. I mean, I can go on down, John LeClaire, Mike Richter. I can go right on down the line. It was our generation that has created that world power, that made us a world power, and we still are a world power today. And that Olympics gold medal, which is the top, I believe, the biggest stage in all of sports, representing your country. That was probably my favorite moment of my career.
Jeremy Roenick joining us on the show. JR, is there one player right now playing that reminds you of yourself?
No, I knew exactly what you were going to say. And I've been asked this question a lot, Josh, and it's, if you think about it, like I hit really hard. I hit to hurt, and I hit every game. I'd be the guy with probably one of the most hits every single game that I played. Scored goals, had assists, was a good playmaker. I mean, all that aspect. And I fought over 46 times in the National Hockey League. People say, what about Ovechkin? Well, first of all, Ovechkin's a better goal scorer than I was, but I hit more. I was a better passer, was better defensively. I fought more. Jamie Benn, not as good a goal scorer, not as good a playmaker. There's a lot of things but there's not anything that I can check all the boxes. If you ask me, nobody that can check all the boxes the way that I played the game. And, I'm going to take that to my grave. It's not bragging. It's just comparing and loving the game and loving other people's talents. And I tried to do as many things as I possibly can, because I just did not want to be one-dimensional.
Jeremy, one follow-up question. You just mentioned Ovechkin. Now, this guy could be the first player in years to hit 800 goals. This guy just keeps scoring goals. I know it's going to be impossible to ever catch Gretzky, but I think Ovechkin's going to come pretty close.
Well, I think with losing the season last year, losing what part of the season he had this year, I mean, he's lost 40 some odd games due to lockouts and also because of the pandemic. So unfortunately, those games are really going to cost Ovechkin his opportunity to catch Gretzky. But I truly believe that he's the best goal scorer I've ever seen. And I've played with Mario. I played against Gretz, played with Holly, played with some of the best players, Solane, Yager, played against them all. But the way that the players are today, as big as the goaltenders are, as good as the goaltenders are, as fast as the defensemen are, as fast as the game is, as strong as these players are, the goaltending equipment's bigger, they're more athletic. Back in the 80s and 90s, goaltenders wouldn't want to go to the ice because they were too out of shape. They had to stand back up. They weren't as talented and flexible and reactive as they are now. So the fact that Alex Ovechkin can score goals at the rate that he does even today, I mean, he is the most consistent goal scorer. You see how many 50-goal scorers have we seen in the last 10 years? Not many. And Alex Ovechkin is the one that year after year does it. And to me, that says a lot about not only how he scores goals, when he scores goals, but how hard it is to score goals, and he continues to do it. It's harder now than ever, and Alex Ovechkin is just he's the best goal scorer that I've ever seen. But I think Austin Matthews is chasing him in that goal scoring mentality.
100%.
Jeremy, one more question from the American side down here. Just kind of curious and just being silly here, but with the success of Shohei Ohtani as a pitcher and a hitter, could the NHL ever see somebody being in that goalie role? So you're not pulling somebody out of the stands at the last second, where somebody could skate, be defensive. I mean, could you ever put somebody like that on a roster? Because I know those goalies always think they can shoot and score. Everybody thinks they're good enough to play, right? And it's the Monday morning quarterback, right? It's such a difficult sport. It's such a hard, and I think you have goaltenders that can come out of the stands and survive, but you can get on the ice and you can do things, but you're never going to survive if you're not in it. And you don't prepare for it, and you haven't worked for it your whole life. But we always like to see the fun stories and the good stories that have happened in the National Hockey League over the last couple of years. But if you're not in it, you're going to get exposed extremely quick in the National Hockey League. All right. Thank you, Josh. You want any parting shots or any kudos to our great friend here, Jeremy?
Well, Jeremy, thanks so much for joining us. Always a pleasure having you on, and good luck with everything going on, especially the whiskey company. We got to get you back on when that comes out.
100%. You guys are the best, and thanks for doing everything you're doing. This disabilities that you're doing, the disability show, is great. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law are in wheelchairs, and they're the greatest people in the world and give as much as anybody else. So it's really important to help a lot of people with disabilities. So make sure you guys all take care of that.
All right, Jeremy Roenick, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you in those Halls of Fame soon. Thank you so much. All right. It doesn't get much better to kick off a show like that, Josh, right?
Oh, JR is the best, man. Whenever he comes on, you're kind of glued to the screen because you don't want to miss what he's going to say, because he's always got good stuff to say, man. He doesn't pull any punches.
Yeah, a lot of hockey legend in that one little silhouette that we had on the screen. So we want you to continue to stay with us on Press Box. We've got a baseball player, friend of mine, Dennis Rasmussen, who had a great career in the major leagues with a lot of teams. We're going to talk baseball, and then Jay Stoyan will come in at the end of the show. We're going to talk a little more hockey, that Maple Leaf push for the playoffs, and again, more sports. This is Dave Stevens. You are watching Press Box right here on the Disability Channel. We'll be back right after this.
Are you currently on ODSP? If you're interested in social media marketing, TV production, podcasting, or getting off assistance, please contact Jay Stoyan at 647-339-6847 or Jay at thedisabilitychannel.ca. The Disability Channel, showcasing abilities.
Hi, I'm Dave Stevens. Welcome back to Press Box. Great show so far. Josh just got done with Jeremy Roenick. What a great way to start the show. But now I'm going to bring in an old baseball buddy of mine, somebody that I've known for a while, a former Major League Baseball player, and of course, long career in major leagues. Also, one of the taller players that ever played in baseball. And he makes his home in Michigan and up in Charlevoix. What do we got up there?
Charlevoix, and I'm actually now in Detroit right now, back home.
You're in Detroit. Wow. I can never pronounce that name. But Dennis, so glad you could join us to talk a little baseball. Dennis, of course, was a major league pitcher, pitched for the Yankees and the Padres and the Reds. And you don't get to do that unless you can actually pitch in the major leagues. So thanks for joining us for a little bit today, bud. And, how is life? How's the family? What's going on in Michigan?
Everything is good. Everything is good. Obviously, you can see we're Red Wings fans. But yeah, it's all good. And I'm down here temporarily. Renee's up at slinging ice cream and flipping burgers up at the restaurant that you've been at. And other than that, everything is good.
Well, it's so awesome to have you here. And for those who don't know, you have played with and next to a lot of great guys in baseball. And I want to bring in, we're talking about the Padres suddenly, one of the teams you really had some success with in those guys. And this year, they've got some exciting players. But you had that opportunity back in the day to play alongside one of the greats, Tony Gwynn. That was such an amazing smile. Without a doubt, one of the greatest hitters of all time. And we lost him way, way, way too soon. But your paths crossed, you were teammates. I mean, what was it like to be a teammate of Tony Gwynn's?
He what an amazing individual and obviously an incredible player. But when I first got traded over there from the Yankees as a player named later for Tommy John in 1983, joined him the last 2 weeks of the big league season. Then we all went together, Tony, Kevin McReynolds, there was like 6 of us that went to Puerto Rico together and went to play winter ball. So I got to know him pretty good there. So our career started back in '83 during winter ball. So, but he was just a student of the game and never stopped trying to improve. And we learned a lot from him from the hitting side because he would help us pitchers kind of know what the other hitters were doing at the plate and how we could best get them out.
And Dennis, now we've got another guy that kind of looks a little bit and reminds folks, I think, of the way he hits, and that's Fernando Tatis Jr., who has really been crushing the ball early in this season. We thought he had an injury and wasn't going to get to play, but do you see a little similarities in their hitting approach?
A little bit. Obviously, he hits for more power, but, surprisingly, Tony could hit for power as well if he wanted to. And or when he needed to. It was he was just that good. And but it's fun to see the Padres be back in the forefront and competing with the Dodgers. Boy, it's been great to see that rivalry start back up again, and it's just exciting for baseball. But he's a great player, and it's just, I hope he has a long career and like Tony did.
And you've done so much since your career for your own town and for other areas around the country with the baseball clinics that I've had the honor to work with you in, and the golf tournaments that you come and appear at for Dave Bowen and us down in Florida. Why do you continue to give back? Why do you continue to do so much when you really could just sling ice cream and do your thing?
it's really all about the relationships. And I was fortunate to play, play and coach parts of 20 years in professional baseball, and it's just it's something that you always did, and I like to support the guys who are doing great work, both on and off the field, and they come and support me as well up in Charlevoix, doing our Legends for Youth clinic like you did. So it's a reciprocal arrangement, and I enjoy being a part of all these different events, and then all the stories, as you know, that happen that you get to hear when we all get together is definitely enlightening.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some great times, and COVID has really has hurt us as far as the fun we get to see with Larry, and we don't get together. Although you guys travel, you guys get to continue to go cross country. I'm talking about Dennis's buddy Larry Kalura, who was a catcher in the Yankees organization, and I mean, what has these struggles been like for you and your family with as much as you are an ambassador, you not getting to do the things you would do?
Yeah, we've tried to. Larry's met me out for his vacation. He's an executive in an insurance company, so I think he spends all his vacation time with me. We've rented an RV, went and seen some former teammates, and done some other events as much as we could, especially during COVID, so we could control all that in the RV. But that was an awful lot of fun, and who knows, we might make another trip. But he's a lot of fun to be around, and never, as you know, and keeps me laughing. That's for sure.
Dennis Rasmussen joining us on the press box. A lot of show left, but I want to get into a couple of things because Ras, you could rake a little bit back in your day. I know you could hit. You had to hit, obviously, when you played in the National League. But I want to get your thoughts on what we finally have seen from Shohei Ohtani, being able to hit in the lineup on the off days he's not pitching, but also to come out and throw consistently on the mound. And again, it's one of those things where I know you as a batter, you didn't want to have to do that all the time, but you had to learn it. But I'm just wondering, the fascination with this experiment, it finally seems to be working. Are we going to see copycats, or is this a one-time thing?
He's an exceptional player, and to do what he's doing at the level he's doing it, and both pitching and hitting, is just amazing. So I tip my hat to him, and it's just great for the game, and it's fun to watch. And obviously that's why people come to the games, is to watch him play. You don't want to go to the concession stand and miss his at bat. He's one of those guys, and let alone now you can't hardly leave and go to the bathroom or anything and leave your seat because he's pitching and hitting at the same time. So it is a lot of fun. I enjoy growing up. I always loved hitting and playing both sides of the game. I'm definitely proud of my 50 major league hits. That is for sure. But I took a lot of pride in my hitting, and I was fortunate to play in the National League with Cincinnati, and mostly with San Diego, and be able to swing the bat and help my own cause.
Yeah, well, I was looking at stuff. In fact, I had some grainy footage of you and just lumbering around the bases on like a bases clear. Like I'm watching you flying around the bases. I'm just thinking, wow, could he even get to first base these days? And, me and you like 40 seconds each. I don't know. But you know what it takes as far as the pitching conditioning for your body. So what is the taxing toll when you've got to get in the cage too and use the other arms? Like that's what, he's gone through some problems with his, like, can he keep up at this high level?
God, I sure hope so. Nobody's done it before, so it remains to be seen. But, probably the biggest thing is there's no downtime. He's, other than when he's not hitting, but he's still watching the game and watching the pitchers because he's got to go out and face them as a hitter. And then, when you're on the mound, you're working hard and focusing. So the mental part of the game is really impressive to me, maybe even more than the physical part, because obviously he can do that, and but the mental part, because you never can turn it off. You got to be able to go back out there and watch what's going on during the game, and there's no break.
and I know you love baseball. You're always at a game and traveling around, but are we seeing the better quality of baseball this year because of what we had to go through for that small 60-game season? We saw minor leaguers making debuts in the postseason. Are we back to normal baseball now?
Well, I'd like to think we are. We're slowly getting there. Our state of Michigan is opening back up even a little bit more this past week. So, I just hope it just keeps going. And I know the fans are excited to be back at the ballpark. I went to one game at Comerica. I watched the Tigers play, and it was there was a lot of excitement there. It was limited seating, but hopefully as it opens more and more up, there's nothing better and motivating as a player to have fans in the seats and cheering your team on, both good and bad. My Yankee days and going into Fenway and playing against the Red Sox was still just as exciting, even though you're a visiting player. But it keeps your adrenaline up, and I can't even imagine playing last year with no fans in the stands. Because you feed off that, and it had to be a difficult season.
Dennis Rasmussen, former Major League Baseball pitcher, joining us on Disability Channel Press Box. And Dennis, as we wrap up, not putting you on the spot, and I'm not looking for compliments or accolades, but getting to know me and my disability. I've heard you talk about it, and it really means a lot to me. But did it help change your perspective and the perception of what those that are labeled handicapped and disabled? And again, I'm not looking for your compliments. I'm just looking for the impact that something like that can have on a life.
Well, we met years ago in the amputee golf tournament through a mutual friend, and I had been participating in that, and through that I've met so many other great people, and each and every one are an inspiration because I have all my limbs and faculties. For the most part, it's debatable, but it's, and I'm able to go out there and do that, but it's not limiting. Watching some of these kids and adults go out there and play golf and play sports and do the things that the physically able can still do. But it's just an inspiration to watch everybody that has any kind of challenge to go out there and do something that we a lot of times take for granted. And but it's definitely inspiring and heartwarming to see all the different, especially at the younger ages, and that where kids didn't think they could do something and said, well, why not? Why can't you go out there and do that? Look at who's doing it and paving the way. So kudos on everything you're doing, and bringing to light what's possible, because anything is possible.
And I mean, you were on the same field, with Jim Abbott. I mean, you got to witness firsthand some of the miracles that can happen when people just go out and just try to do their own thing. And as you know, this is my normal. We all have struggles. As we get older, we all kind of get things that kind of make us all part of that disabled family when you can't walk or you need hip replacement surgery or something like that. So thank you. Your friendship means a lot. And before I let you go, I got to ask you one more question. When we just talked to Jeremy Roenick, put him on the spot. But for you, I don't care if it's little league, college, major leagues, we're having a beer. What is that greatest moment of your life, your personal achievement? What when you look back, that you're just like, that was the day. That was the day in my career.
Well, it brings me back having doing this interview and joining you. I was in a bicycle car accident when I was a kid at 15, where I almost lost my left ankle. And since, after my career was over, I had it fused. But there was a time where, a turning point where the orthopedic doctor that said, we can always amputate. Let's put it back together and see what happens. I think that was the turning point that, for me, anything was possible as I look back on it. And I never used that as a as a handicap. Yeah, I just dealt with it, and everybody, all the trainers, everybody knew that I had to do my conditioning on a bike, and it's kind of a story that a lot of people don't know. And I'm very proud of the fact that I got to the level that I did and persevered. Was it all that easy and physically easy? No, but nothing in life is. Nothing worth doing and achieving is easy. There's always some bumps along the way. So, that's probably my biggest, proudest moment. There's a lot of things that in the game that I'm proud of, and longevity being one. But that's probably the biggest point and turning point that I'll never forget. That orthopedic doctor on call on that Labor Day of 1973 that told my parents that this is what's possible, and it's basically up to me. And that was the turning point, and I took it and ran with it, literally.
Well, thank you, my friend, and I'm so glad that what an impactful story. It's like you never know what you're going to find out when you and I talk. So, brother, it's so glad. Oh, hey, congratulations. So tell us, update us about this exciting new part of your life, and what can we do to follow you and share and maybe get you some work?
Yeah, well, I'm at a part where I'm going to be a pitching coach in the Appalachian League. It has not been announced yet officially, so I won't tell the team, but I am getting back into baseball, and it is, it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to, this next chapter with Renee's blessing to get back and share some of my experiences with these young college kids, non-draft eligible college players in the new Major League Baseball, USA Baseball partnership. So, more to be said at a later time, but it's an exciting time. Unfortunately, with all the contraction and things going on with minor league baseball having been taken over by Major League Baseball, there's still a lot of teams in transition, but the new Appy League should be exciting to watch, and with these up and coming players that they think are going to play in the big league someday.
All right. Well, there he is. Look at that baby face. He's seen a lot of fun places and locations and a lot of great memories. Dennis Rasmussen, thanks for joining me, my friend. And I can't wait till we can get together in person, shake hands, have a beer, and maybe have a couple of Moscow mules.
There you go. Well, it's great to see you, and I love you, brother. And you take care and keep doing your good work.
All right. Thank you. Dennis Rasmussen joining us here on TDC Press Box. When we come back, we are going to have Jay Stoyan to talk a little Maple Leafs hockey. Josh is going to jump back in the seat, and we'll update you on this quest for the Stanley Cup in 2021. This is Dave Stevens. You're watching Press Box.
For the episodes of Veterans Onward to Prosperity, I'm your host, Master Sergeant Retired Anna Maria Bliven, bringing you every week information, resources, and sources that help tackle the issues and situations that occur when transitioning from military to civilian life.
Well, how about that for a press box this week, Jay and Josh? I mean, you have two great former professional athletes joining us. Some insight, some things I didn't know about Jeremy, some things I didn't know about Dennis. So, wow, I mean, we got some stuff that's if we start like this, can imagine where we're going to be going in a few weeks.
This is great, guys. Sorry, Josh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, yeah, great interviews, great personalities. I enjoyed both of them very much, both interviews.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on today, guys. Really appreciate it. I do want to comment on both Jeremy. I want to thank Jeremy, and I want to thank Dennis for coming on. Their profiles and their platforms just help us immensely. So great conversation. I love the insight with Jeremy talking about Taylor Hall. I love the way he tooted his own horn. I mean, he was a superstar. I would say closest back in the day would be Wendell. I know Jeremy was probably little bit more talented than Wendell, but I think Wendell had the Dukes that was sort of even them out. So, and ask, I don't know if you're going to ask Jeremy about that hit behind the net. I remember that. I remember that hit.
Oh, yeah. Well, how about Jeremy even like saying there's no player that reminds him of himself? Like, how about that? There's no player in today's NHL.
I don't know about that, but I mean, Jeremy did have the whole package. He had the whole package. He had the heart, the talent, the drive. Yeah. He could fight. You know, he was. I'm trying to think. Today's guy. Yeah, let me think about that. But I know there's a couple of guys around, and I want to also thank Dennis for being on today. That story that he shared when he was 15 is that's what we're all about. Right? That's what we're all about, overcoming obstacles, struggles in your life. Everybody has them. It's, you know, what you do when you're challenged with them. So thank you, Dennis, for sharing. Thanks, Dave, for, you know, great interviews, and Josh. So, yeah, so thanks for having me on today, guys. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I know I wouldn't forget that series with the Flyers and the Leafs, as you were talking about the hit behind the net with JR. And, yeah, I mean, I at that point, I even thought that the Leafs would be able to win that series and Belfour would stand on his head. But, yeah, that was a disappointment.
Was that the same series where Domi did the elbow?
That was against New Jersey, wasn't it? The Scott Niedermayer.
Oh, that was against Jersey. That's right. Yeah.
That was the year before, right. I think.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a year we should have won.
Yeah.
That's a year we should have won.
Well, how about the year when we even went to, I say we, I'm not even a Leaf fan, even though I'm wearing a Leaf shirt.
I know, I saw that. I like that. I like that.
Well, I got to do laundry. But, I mean, the series, if you remember when they won 2 series, they beat Ottawa, which they always beat Ottawa. Yeah. And then I forgot who they beat the second round, but they played Carolina in the third round because I was working for Leafs television at that point, and I had basically a free entrance to every Leaf home playoff game. Working for Leafs television, and it was pretty awesome and being there. And I actually got into kind of being a Leaf fan, and I was cheering for them. And you know that series. Was
it Buffalo that we beat? Was it Buffalo that we beat the second round?
No, it's gonna drive me nuts now. I don't think of the second. And
all I remember is they should have probably kept Sundin on the sideline when they went down to Carolina because it changed the chemistry of the team. They thought, oh, Sundin's back. Okay, everybody can just take it. And he wasn't back. Like he wasn't Matt's, right? And it ruined the chemistry of the flow, I just thought. And I mean, but in Carolina always plays us tough.
That's true.
They always play the Leafs tough.
Speaking of Sundin, I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
What do you think about Sundin finishing his career in Vancouver and not finishing it up as a Leaf? I know
as a Leaf fan,
he wanted to finish in Toronto. He tried to re-sign. I think it was Cliff Fletcher that said, "Okay, no, we're done with you," pretty much, right? He wanted to finish a Leaf, and I think it was kind of an eyesore. And to be honest with you, I think to this day, it leaves a sour taste in Sundin's mouth. That's why you don't see him too often in public anymore.
Well, see, now I have a totally different perspective than you, Josh. I'm under the impression that he wanted to leave. Because I mean, from what I recall, and again, who knows? Because I'm not totally on the inside with the Leafs, but I mean, from what I heard that the Leafs wanted to trade him to Detroit because Detroit was still a powerhouse and they wanted to repeat. I think they were repeating, or when it was in that era when they won all the cups, and we could have got some high prospects, and they wanted him. We wanted him to go there, but he said, "I want to stay a Leaf," and then all of a sudden, you went to Vancouver. Yeah. I mean, what are you doing? Like, why? And then he didn't even finish in Vancouver. He retired in December. Yeah. So I think I like Sundin, but I thought as a Leaf fan, I have a sour taste in my mouth how he left, because if he would have went to Detroit, he could have got us some great prospects. I believe we were a playoff team then, or we were coming on. And I don't know. And then he went to Vancouver and retired. Like, well, what are you doing? I don't understand that logic myself. I could be
Well,
wrong, but I'm just from a fan.
I think he was kind of, from what I was told, that he was kind of, I don't want to use the term butthurt, but I guess I will, that they wanted to part with him, and he wanted to stay in Toronto. Obviously, Toronto was going to get prospects, and I think they were going to get a first rounder in that deal.
Yeah.
But he refused the deal. He wouldn't waive his no trade, and he was unrestricted at the end of the year. But he said he wanted to remain with Toronto. He didn't want to be traded. He had a new wife. I'm pretty sure he just got engaged, and from to a girl here in Toronto, and he didn't want to leave. And I think he signed with Vancouver because Toronto didn't want to re-sign him.
I don't know why he wouldn't want to go to Detroit, win a cup. He never won a cup. He's been in the league 13, 14 years at the time. Detroit's on his way to a cup. Go to Detroit. Well, but that's enough about. Let's move on. Let's talk about today's Dave. Yeah. Let's get Dave in there. So Dave, you got it. As an American, what's your hockey question?
Well, let's take a look at the standings right now. You can kind of see it. The Leafs look pretty good, and I think they quietly, here stateside, I don't think we've kind of paid attention to them just because all eyes here. I was always talking about Vegas. So I think there's going to be a lot of excitement in Canada for the first time in a while. I think, and I don't know if I'm wrong being here on this side, but you guys could be proud of what's going on up there.
Well, as a Leaf follower, and I'm so involved with it, not with the team, but as a sports guy and media, I think picking up Nick Felino has changed the chemistry of our team. He's still in his prime. He's a captain. He's got grit galore, and I think he's going to raise the other guys on the team who have grit, like Wayne Simmons. Even though Joe Thornton's in his 40s, the guy's a remarkable player. When Hyman gets back, I hope Zach Bogosian is fine, but I think Sandina has stepped in. The only thing I'm worried about, Dave, is we haven't played any USA teams. I mean, nobody has, right? So it's like, I don't know really how good we are. Like, I know we're good, but are we Boston and Tampa and Washington good? I don't know. We'll see, but I think, our Achilles heel will be our goaltending but they say Freddie's on the ice. So I think with Freddie, if Freddie comes back, plays the last couple games and takes the pressure off, Jack's got a lot of pressure. I mean, let's be serious. So Jack's, all of a sudden he's the number one goalie by, no choice. He's it. So I think we're good. I think our four lines are strong. I think we have lots of backup, lots of ammo in case guys go down. I just think we have to stay healthy for the next 9 games and see where we're at. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to talk a little bit about Nick Felino. Now, I know a lot about Nick Felino. I'm a Blue Jackets fan. He was the heart and soul of our team, the captain. This is a guy that Jay can play on the first line. This is a guy that can play on the fourth line. He can score. He can be a playmaker. He can hit. He can fight. He can do it all. And this is exactly what Toronto needed. And you know what? When I saw that deal happen, as sad as I was seeing that he was leaving Columbus, I'm like, you know what? This is what Toronto needs to go far in the playoffs.
Well, let's follow up on that, Josh, because I know you are a Columbus. You have Columbus strong ties, and you're a Columbus fan, and obviously you watch Nick for how long? Nick's been there for 10 years, I guess. I mean, he's been there for
he was traded from Ottawa, 10, 12 years ago. He's been there for a while now.
So tell Leaf fans what to expect. Like, what great tangibles are we going to get from Nick on a daily basis?
Well, like I said, he can play on the first. He can play on the fourth line. The guy is a heart and soul of a team. He's not the captain of the Leafs, but you know what? He's going to be a voice in that locker room because he's a team leader. He focuses on what the team does, not what he does. He just goes out and he plays his role. And that's why John Tortorella and Columbus loved this guy. He was sad to see him go because he adapted to Torts' system. He blocked shots. He hit. He fought. He scored. He dish the puck out. The guy was incredible for Columbus. And
what do you think? What do you think the Leafs are going, like the Leaf fans are going to see on the ice, feeding through the other players? Like, what do you think he's going to do to the other players? How do you think we're going to see a difference? I think we already do, but like, how do you think his passion is going to bleed through the team?
Well, you know what? He's not afraid to voice stuff with players. He's very open with guys. All the players loved him in Columbus. I guarantee you everyone in Toronto is going to love him. They're going to love hearing from him and what he has to bring to this team. And it's going to, you know what? I think it's going to help that locker room. There's a lot of leaders in that locker room. Let's be honest. Joe Thornton, Jason Spezza, guys that have been around the league for a long time who are well respected, right? And then you got John Tavares. Let's not forget about John. But I honestly believe Felino might be the actual glue that keeps things together. Goaltending is a question. You mentioned that before. Whether or not Freddie Anderson's going to be fine with this knee injury he's been suffering, how he's going to play when he comes back, if Campbell's going to be able to kind of hold the reins down if he's not 100%. Goaltending, I think, is the number one question going into the playoffs. But you know what? I guarantee that team is looking pretty good right now up front. And, I think this team this year for the first time in a while.
I think we're going to be able to cycle, which is going to be huge come playoff time, because you got to have grit, you got to be able to go down low, you got to be able to go into the corners, and I think we're gonna have that. I'm gonna put you on the spot here, and then I want to get Dave in there, and then I think you guys can kick me off. I'm gonna put you on the spot now, since you're a Columbus boy, right? Let's get Nick on the show before the playoffs.
Well, I was actually gonna ask him today, but then I'm like, I got to go through PR, and that's gonna be a hassle.
Maybe we could do it like
he would totally do it for me. Maybe
would he?
Maybe
well,
in the off season.
If you can start that process, we'll have a special Leaf show. If you can make that happen, we'll get Dave back on. Dave, I want to ask you, who's your team in the U.S. now? Who do you think is going to go to the Cup on your side?
I've kind of become this fan since we don't really have anything here in Hartford. We don't have the Whalers anymore. I've kind of become a Las Vegas fan just because what a great story it was and what they almost did in that very first year of existence. But I just don't know what kind of Las Vegas team we're going to see in these playoffs, and if they even have enough to get out of that first round, and you got Tampa and all those kind of things. But I wanted to throw a quick curveball to you two, since Jeremy touched on it briefly. Is Ovechkin got any shot to set the record for goals, or is he going to just drag on like a Gordie Howe kind of guy and get 16 or 17 goals? And do you think that he has any shot to pass the great one?
I'd say no.
No, he's 200 goals? Do we have?
He's like 200 away, kind of. Yeah, he's like 200 away.
It's pretty close, but like as JR said, I'm just pulling it up here. As JR said, because of the shortened seasons, I think it's really hurt his numbers. I think he's going to come close. I think he'll end up be possibly fourth in the league. I know Yager, let's see. So I have the leaders here. So Ovechkin right now, he sits at 730 goals. Fifth spot, or Ovechkin's in the sixth spot, but in the fifth spot is Marcel Dion, 731. So he's one goal away. That's going to move him up to fifth spot. Brett Hall is only 11 goals away. So that's definitely possible. This year, I don't know if he could score 11 goals in the last 3-4 weeks of the season. Yeah. I don't know if that's possible. Yager's at 766. So Yager's third in NHL scoring all time, 766. So he's 36 goals away from the third spot right now. That is definitely possible. Gordie Howe, 801. He's 71 goals away from Gordie Howe. Is it possible?
That's a lot of goals. That's a lot of goals.
But Gretzky is 894, which means he has to score another 164 goals. He's 36 years old, Ovechkin. Is he going to play for another 5 years? Is he going to be able to put up, in a full season 30, 40 goals a year like he's been accustomed to. He's getting to that age, guys. I think it's possible he could finish in third, possibly number 2 ahead of Gordie Howe, but Gretzky, that's going to be a tough one.
That will be tough. That will be tough. This is great, guys. I really want to thank everybody, for having me on today. You know what? I just thought about this as we were talking. Dave and Josh, I know both of you guys, all three of us, are huge NFLers. So I know the draft is tomorrow. If you guys have any great insight, let me know, and maybe we can do a special NFL draft show next week and do some follow-ups if you guys are into that.
It'd be interesting to see if there's some trades or
Yeah.
Garoppolo stays or what's going to be happening up until
And
tomorrow.
if the Dolphins trade their pick again.
Yeah, maybe we can. I hope not.
How many
Yeah,
times
maybe
have they
we can.
traded their pick in the last 2 weeks?
Well, they got lots of. Don't they have like 8 picks or something? And they were talking to Arizona or something like that. I'm not updated in the last couple of days, so I don't know exactly where they're at. But I think we should do. Should maybe do an NFL show. Get Chris Berman on, or get somebody on, Dave, who you think might want to come on and talk NFL.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, let me know if you guys can do that. But again, I want to thank you guys for having me on today, and I will mute myself while you guys end the show.
All right.
Hey,
Thanks.
Dave,
for
any way
joining
you
us,
can play
Jay.
us out on Brass Bonanza since you're a former Hartford Whaler fan?
Dun, dun, dun. If I had Berman, I think that's his cell phone. But what a great show, Josh. I want to thank you for hooking us up with Jeremy. It doesn't get much better for hockey fans to be able to talk to one of the third. There are only 3 Americans that have scored over 500 goals, and it's pretty awesome to just have him come and be a part of your show, the Disability Channel, and again the great things that he's doing in his life. So, Josh, any last words for folks out there still watching?
Well, JR was amazing. I just want to say that, he's a good dude and appreciate him coming on. And, one thing I guess I could have brought up with JR is the other high-scoring American right now that everyone's been talking about, and that's Patrick Kane and his former stomping grounds, right? Because Patrick Kane, he's a stud too, right? Like, this is a guy that is definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame. And speaking of Hall of Fame, JR needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. So continue to push for that. And where can people follow you, Josh, off of the show?
Well, I'm on Twitter at Josh Rimmer PR, 1M, that is. I'm on Instagram at Josh Chasing Greatness. I'm on there talking about fitness and health and keto. I'm down 130 pounds in 6 years. So I'm on there promoting that. And am I on anywhere else? No, that's it. That's about it.
All right, my friend. Well, it's good to see you. And again, for those of us that are out there with disabilities, that's what the Disability Channel is for. It's shows by us, for us, content programming, great stories, great people behind the scenes with Jay and all the folks up in Toronto. And, of course, the job opportunities that are coming, that we have all kinds of potential for us to come over and take the world. So for Josh, I'm Dave Stevens. I want to thank you guys again for joining us and to continue to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all those platforms. And also go to our website, thedisabilitychannel.ca. So until next time, we'll see you on the Disability Channel Press Box.